Howdy folks, Alan BePro here today, doing a little bit more of the techniques and fundamentals. Today, it's all about the breathing.
Here, watch!
Again, this Techniques and Fundamentals series may be old hat for some of you old shooters, more experienced shooters. For you that have a little less experience or are just looking for the knowledge, some of this information may be quite useful to you. Breathing is actually a very essential part of shooting accurately. There's everything from your grip, your stance, your sight picture, your trigger control, but breathing is one of the things that's often underrated. Some of you rifle shooters, and especially you long distance rifle shooters, are very, very familiar with this concept. When you breathe, you inhale, put a bunch of air into your chest, it makes your whole body come up. When you exhale, it makes it all come down. Now, I'm not saying that focusing on your breathing in a self-defense situation is going to happen. But when we're practicing, when we're working at the range, when we're just target shooting, breathing has a lot to do with your control. Allow me to slightly demonstrate. First, again, magazine is always loaded and there's always one in the chamber, so let's get rid of those. Now, when I hold the firearm up, I'm going to purposely not make corrections while I breathe. There's a significant muzzle rise and muzzle fall as I breathe. A lot of times people think that we just compensate for this as we make our adjustments to our sights, but that's not always the case that can happen. Something that I was trained for many years ago was you intake your breath, you exhale your breath. Right at the tail end of that breath, you pause, and that's when you actually break the shot. So, does this make a big difference when shooting a pistol? Well, let's head to the range and find out. Hey, you made it to the range. Good to see you. I gotta grab my stuff, and I'll see you over there. So that you have a reference, I've tried to get this line just a reference line, so that you can see any muzzle rise and fall as I go through my breathing. Excuse me, I've been sick for about a week. Anyway, so holding the pistol straight out, as I would in normal firing position, if I line my sights up on my target, that's about where I'm going to be landing. Okay? If I breathe in, if I breathe out, I'm purposely trying not to make the adjustments with my shoulders, with my arms, to compensate for it. All that I'm doing is trying to hold the pistol as I would in firing, and breathe in. So let's see what that looks like when I take a shot. Just for reference, let me show you what the target looks like. So with my controlled breathing, that's about where the target landed. That is controlled breathing. Let's see what it looks like when I inhale and then I exhale. Again, I'm just going to hold the pistol in the normal shooting position. I'm not going to compensate for the inhalation. I'll take a shot. I will exhale. I will take another shot. Let's see what that did to the target. And so not attempting to correct my aim, Sorry for the sun there. Not attempting to correct my aim, but focusing just on what happens while I inhale and exhale. On this shot here, that was my inhale shot. If you notice, it's not that far off of center, but my exhale shot is all the way down here. Now, you would say, Heath, that's not very far. That's a 1 finger's distance. You know, what is 1 finger gonna really do? Well, to let you know, I'm actually only shooting from about 35 feet. So if I'm shooting at a much further distance, obviously that is going to be exaggerated. Does it really matter if you take your inhale, pause, take your shot, exhale, pause, take your shot? Let's see what happens there. Throughout these exercises, I want to remind you to keep breathing. One of the things that will end up being a problem is if you exhale, you hold your breath, and you keep holding it, you're going to end up getting hand jitters, you're going to end up getting dizzy, you're going to lose function in the eye. It happens rather quickly. For these next 2 shots, I'm going to inhale, pause, take a shot. I'm also going to compensate my aim for that placement. I'm going to exhale, pause, take a shot, and again, correct my aim for that placement. Just to see, is there any difference on if you have your lungs full of air or if they're empty? So let's take these next 2 shots. Let's see where those landed. I'll be the first to admit, I'm not one of the best marksmen. For the majority of my shooting life, I've focused more on point shooting, defensive shooting. But what we have here is 1 here and 1 here. So is that very much? Well, I'm still looking at about a finger's distance away from center mass, or from the center of the target. This shot was actually on my inhale. This shot was on my exhale. Some may ask, how about one-handed shooting? How much of a difference is there in one-handed shooting when on your breathing? Well, you know what? I'm glad you asked. Simply because I've got a couple more rounds in the magazine, and let's find that out. Okay. First, I'm not going to fire. I'm just going to hold the weapon up just so that you can get a reference on the building. With the one-handed, I'm going to hold it on target. Breathe. You can see there's still muzzle rise and fall. With my non-dominant hand, on target, and breathe. So let's see what that's like when we take some shots. On target, inhaling. Exhaling. Now, both those shots I actually took on the pause, like I did on the previous round. So let's see what that did. Slight caveat, for me, I know when I shoot a rifle that I am actually more accurate if I inhale and hold. If I inhale and hold, I'm a little bit more accurate. A lot of places don't teach this. A lot of places teach you the opposite. They teach you to exhale and then take your shot. But, just for an example, this right here was where I actually landed on my exhale pause. This right here is where I landed on my inhale pause. So I landed almost dead square with my very first shot as my reference shot, where I was solid holding. So, as you can see, there is a difference, at least for me, if I have breath in my lungs or no breath in my lungs. So those shots were taken with my dominant hand. How about my off hand? How about my non-dominant hand? Let's find that out here. I'll do the same. Inhale, pause, take my shot. Exhale, pause, take my shot. Try to get the gun at the reference point for you folks. I can see from here where those shots landed, but let me show you. Some may say to not practice one-handed shooting. I'm fully an endorser of one-handed shooting. I'm even an endorser of one-handed offhand shooting. And here's why. This was my first shot here, and here's my second shot. Now, if you notice, this whole entire group here, it's just no much larger than my entire fist, but this is my offhand, one-hand shot from the same distance that I've taken all these other shots at. So did it really make a difference where I was inhaled and exhaled? Well, yes, it did, actually. This was my inhaled shot, and this was my exhaled shot. So you say to me, Alan, I'm not going to be taking one shot. Well, if you're target shooting, you're going to be taking one shot. I don't always go out and target shoot. Most of the time I point shoot. Most of the time I'm looking for how to shoot while I fight, because I try to train as I fight. So, with that caveat, what about double taps? I've actually got 6 plus the one in the chamber. So let's see what happens with double taps while paying attention to my breathing. And the one gratuitous no-look shot. So, did I kill the box? Well, let's find out here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I believe that's correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Huh? Well, nevertheless, I don't think the box is quite dead yet. I think we need to do some mag dumps. It's the only time my magazines are unloaded, other than when I'm dry firing. It may not be a threat anymore. We might be safe. Uh-oh. And so what was learned with all this? Well, that breathing does matter. The thing is you have to train with it while you're target shooting. You have to train for your marksmanship. But your marksmanship and your breathing's probably going to be one of the last things that you think about in a self-defense situation. You're probably not even going to worry about your stance. You're going to be worried about getting your firearm out, getting on target, putting shots on target, and stopping the threat. Today's threat, yeah, threat's down. Again, I'm going to be having a 100 sub giveaway here very shortly. I am very close to the 100 subs. I greatly appreciate everybody watching. Please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, Please subscribe. I'm going to have a 100 sub giveaway. It's not going to be huge, but it's going to be something that I think people are going to enjoy. I'm Alan BePro. Have yourself a great day, and as always, keep your magazines loaded and one in the chamber.